What was depressing about that?
That was depressing, and now Tuck is depressed.
Yeah, he's
Tuck,
also
do you
wearing
want to fix that?
He's wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, Tuck is wearing a tux. It's tux.
It's tux.
But he's not going to do anything for us, really? No interpretive dance.
Dance! Everyone shares!
I think
More liquor.
I think he should be pressed.
What does that mean?
Pressed into service.
Should be
Allow
pressed.
me to
Says Mike.
demonstrate.
Pressed into service.
Well, does anyone else like? Would anyone else like to perform?
Be pressed, yes, I got it.
Don't hold the pipe when I ask if anyone wants to perform. It looks like you're holding up your hand. Okay, so.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I have some video art that we could like kind of have on a screen somewhere.
All right, we can do that. But also, I think most of the people in the room would like to hear more of Kate, if if she is so inclined. She looks like a scared puppy in the corner, actually, and is now using terrible gestures with her hand that would get you suspended from Catholic school.
Okay, fine.
Oh, and Dale as well.
Because, that's fine.
Do we want to hear one more piece by Dale, and then have Kate do however much she'll want to do? All right, so Kate can compose herself. Dale can read one more piece, and Kate will maybe somehow do our musical entertainment to us tonight. Awesome! Dale, would you like to come up and finish up?
Okay, so
Hey, the bad news is it's more prose, and I'm the only one doing prose tonight, but the good news is it's shorter than the last one, so it'll go quick.
Prose means words and sentences, and I wrote prose.
And I brought my gay cigarette to be more artsy.
Dude, I smoked that. Don't call it a gay cigarette.
Oh my god, can you tell me not to put my
Especially
glass
pink, see?
right in front of... Actually, that'd be kind of funny.
Okay, this is
We'll do that.
this chapter is called The Morning After. It is significantly shorter.
Okay, wait, I'm getting up.
Victor settled on a spot, just a small clearing in the trees. A large clearing wouldn't feel safe, and she'd probably still be rattled. He turned a little and sat with his back against a tree. She'd be following his scent trail, so he expected her to approach from the direction he came. He faced a little to the side so as not to make immediate eye contact. He balled his fist into the pockets of a black leather jacket to fight off the morning chill. A mist still hung a couple of feet above the ground. It would burn off quickly as the sun rose. She'd probably been waiting for him, because he wasn't there long at all before he spotted her. He saw her before hearing her. She was very quiet, but her blonde coat was loud. He only looked at her for a moment to acknowledge that he knew of her presence, but he didn't stare. He leaned into his knees to make himself smaller. No simple feat for a towering man of 6 feet 4 inches. As she approached, he turned slowly toward her and held out his hand. She made a little canine whimper, still distressed. Finally, she sniffed his fingers and came closer. The barrier was broken. He could touch her and comfort her. She melted into him like a family dog. He pressed his face into the soft fur of her neck, and her whimpers continued. "It's okay, Tabitha. We're safe. Come back to me." He held her face gently and looked into her eyes, speaking to her softly. "Tabitha, listen to my voice. Tabitha." The repetition of her human name was very purposeful. He kept repeating it while slowly standing and looking down at her. He saw something shift in her blue eyes like flowing water. This time he repeated it a little louder and with more urgency. She whelped as the shift began. Ripples traveled under her skin, causing the fur to stand on end. He picked up her paws and helped her to a standing position.
You're a furry.
In a few moments, I'm not really. There's been no sex. What are you talking about? Okay. In a few moments, she was standing taller than him, and he held the clawed hands of an enormous, half-human, half-wolf monster. "Good girl," he said, encouraging her to continue. She'd be considered a horrifying visage to most anyone at that point, but Victor wasn't afraid. She was no threat to him. Her back straightened as her head lowered until she was back to her normal height. Tabitha was a little on the tall side for a woman, but he still had a good half a foot on her once she was fully human. She leaned against his chest and he wrapped his leather coat around her as best he could and held her naked form for a while until she calmed down. "Are you tired of me yet?" she asked. "Of course not. I like our little reunions." I'm not sure what I'd do if you weren't here for me. Would I ever make it back? Don't be so dramatic. You've managed fine. So how much do you remember, he asked. I remember some struggles and running for my life. Yeah, that sounds about right. He forced a grin. You know? How? Tabitha, you made the news. The color drained from her face. What are you doing running around shifted in civilized areas? I know you've got better instincts than that. It won't happen again, believe me. I don't like being shot at. Victor smelled blood, and not just hers. It was on her face and under her nails. You were hit. Yes, I think so, she replied. They both looked over her body. There were no blemishes, but there was still some dried blood visible on her left side below her ribcage. It's been a while. I think it was somewhere around here. He leaned down and sniffed the area. Yes, that's your blood.
Wait, no.
Did I hurt anyone?
My mic. I don't want
A policeman. She hung her head down, distressed. Not too badly, though. He lost a lot of blood, but he should be okay. Victor retrieved a pair of jeans, sneakers, and a warm sweater from a backpack. She put them on, and they started walking back. Victor got out his cell phone and speed dialed. Hi, Dad. We're heading back now. She's fine, but plan for a bullet party later. It's already healed over, so no rush. In a few minutes, they reached a dirt road and Victor's bike, a hybrid-style Harley, designed both for comfort on long road trips and a little mild off-roading. He held out a spare helmet for Tabitha. I know you hate to ride bitch style, but unless you want to walk back to the site. She smiled as she took the helmet from him. Only for you, Victor. It was a 2-hour ride through traffic before they arrived at an RV park that was conveniently situated just a few miles from the construction site where they currently worked. There were several RVs and a variety of motorcycles parked neatly in rows nearby. Jake was filling a rather large paper cup with coffee from a big dispenser on a fold-out table stocked with various breakfast items. Tabitha was off the bike before he could even come to a complete stop and made a beeline for the food. Victor made a comical grimace at the enormous volume of coffee. Go easy on that stuff, Dad. I told you it'll stunt your growth. Well, I guess that explains how you got taller than me. Tabitha, why don't you fill up a plate and meet us inside? I want to show you something. Meanwhile, Tabitha was stuffing as much food as would fit into her face. She stopped eating for a moment, looked over at Victor. She was cute with her cheeks stuffed like a hamster and a mild look of dread as she braced herself for a lecture. Come on, said Victor. It's not going to be that bad. It was large for an RV, but people were stuffed into every crevice available. A small television was bolted to the ceiling in a back corner. Jake operated a remote and fast-forwarded the digital recorder through a good chunk of the news before getting to a clip of a huge white wolf running through a mall with a bright patch of blood on its right side. It was rough footage, probably from someone's cell phone. Following that was cleaner footage of a policeman being loaded into an ambulance, and brief interviews with various customers, some still in a panic, others just seemed excited to be on TV. Damn, Tabitha, you don't look more like a show dog than a wild animal. David made no secret about his attraction to Tabitha. He was constantly flirting with her to no avail. Tabitha shot him a playful bird. Jake ignored him and got on with the business at hand. Tabitha attacked someone. Now, is there anyone at all who feels we need to call the elders? She was trying to run away, and she was shot at. No one can blame her for defending herself, answered David, nearly shouting. Several others voiced their agreement. Calm down, everyone. It's just protocol. I agree, but I had to offer it. I think we're all in agreement that Tabitha acted in self-defense and used restraint, so calling the elders is probably not warranted, but it only takes one person to speak up. He paused to see if anyone would disagree. When no one did, he continued. Now, that said, this may be the first time it got caught on video, but you've gotten separated from the pack and wandered into civilized areas before. We all know very well how people react to wolves, and you shouldn't be putting yourself in a position to have to defend yourself in the first place. This can't continue. Is everything all right with you, Tabitha? Tabitha looked for a moment like she might cry, but regained her composure. The tension in the room built. I'm okay, I'm just rattled. You would be too after being chased and shot at. This whole experience has instilled in my wolf a healthy fear of populated areas. I'm confident it won't happen again. Good, because the next time it happens, I'll be the first to insist that we call the elders. For a moment, Jake showed sincere anger, but quickly stifled it. Tabitha hung her head down in shame. Do you need a little time to get your bearings? No, I think I'll be better off sooner. The sooner I get back into the swing of things. All right, then, answered Jake, clapping his hands once and raising his voice, which raised the entire energy of the room. Show's over. Let's get back to work and enjoy some of this California sunshine while we can.